back to World Crisis Radio. We're just saying a few words in defense of Greece. The leadership of these strikes, the GSEE, private sector union, and the ADEDY, public sector union, very weak on leadership. And this has something to do with a lot of these people are members of the PASOK, the Pan-Hellenic Social Democratic organization, which is Papandreou. In other words, leaders of the trade unions are drawn from the same pseudo-socialist or pseudo-social democratic party, which is represented by Papandreou. So they don't fight. They don't demand the ouster of their own government, which would be minimal. And above all, they don't go beyond this to propose concrete measures to strike at the speculators and the zombie banks and the hedge fund hyenas that are attacking their country. They only say, we don't want these cuts, and that's fine. That's essential to say. And they want to avoid the privatization of their public insurance system, be it the healthcare system or the pension funds, right? That would, in other words, don't do in Greece what was done in Pinochet's Chile. Fine. But you've got to get on the offensive, and it's an uncertain trumpet. It has to do with the fact that the trade unions and the ruling party are, to some degree, Siamese twins. So that's not good, and that's the problem that you get now. So this looks like it's not going anywhere. I don't know how many more of these general strikes they're going to have, but they've got to get leadership and program, and they don't have it. And it stresses the importance of program. If you look at the Greek situation, you see that there are these large organizations, but they're controlled by not reliable people. Therefore, here in the United States, we have no such organizations. If we could create them, we would want to do it with a much better program than the minimalist stuffing within Greece they've been losing with, because eventually, if you've had 4 general strikes, and if you have 8 or 10 general strikes, eventually people are going to get tired and they're going to give up. And at that point, the International Monetary Fund wins. So you've got to do something much more energetic than has been done before. But let's try to defend the Greek people a little bit. We're hearing from all of these austerity hyenas and austerity ghouls, from the neocons to the Austrians to the Rush Limbaughs, that the Greeks are profligate. Oh, the Greeks, boy, they live the life of Riley. They live high on a hog, right? They're rolling in dough. They have a wonderful welfare state. They retire. They go on vacation. They have pensions and all this stuff. And this is absolute baloney. Greece is a poor country. It's a poor Mediterranean country. It's out of Europe, right? Forget about the former Warsaw Pact states, but of the former members of Western and Central Europe, right? The long-term European community members. Greece is probably the second poorest. Portugal may be poorer, but Greece is down there. The average office worker in Greece makes 40% of an office worker in Germany. So less than half. The average wage of an office worker is less than half in Greece than the prevailing level in Germany. The official Greek unemployment rate, 18%, 18%. That's the official unemployment rate. So they've got twice as much unemployment as the U.S., and according to official statistics, 20% of all Greeks, 1/5, are in poverty. They're below the official poverty line. So this means that the real unemployment and the real poverty rates are correspondingly higher. Pensions. Oh, yeah, pensions. 2/3 of the pensioners get less than 600 euros a month. Now, as of right now, that's about $750 per month for more than half of the pensioners. The wonderful Greek bureaucrats, how do they do? Well, if you're an active duty bureaucrat in the Greek civil administration, the average wage 1,200 euros. So as of right now, that's about $1,500 per month That is not a king's ransom. I'm sorry, IMF. I'm sorry, Limbaugh. I'm sorry, Germany. These people are not living high on the hog. It's one of the poorest countries. Obviously, they have shipping. They're the truck drivers of the ocean. They need to have shipbuilding. They had it. It's been taken down a lot because of competition from around the world. They've obviously got tourism. They've got these Mediterranean products, things like olives and currants and so forth. All of that has to be geared up. But there's got to be a high-tech, high-value-added export that the Greeks can develop. In other words, economic growth, but not speculative growth. Real high-tech, high-value-added, high-capital density exports. And they've got to, again, like every other country, they've got to pick something where they're going to be the world leader in it. So you got to go to them no matter how bad protectionism gets. So the whole business about profligacy is, as usual, baloney coming from the reactionary kitchen of lies, probably the Heritage Foundation, the American Enterprise Institute, the Cato Institute. You can count them in, too. So the idea is that all of this is going to be destroyed. What is being proposed for Greece is simply IMF shock therapy. And IMF shock therapy has a list of victims, countries that they've destroyed, that's a mile long, from Bolivia to Poland to the Soviet Union and on and on. Everybody in Latin America has been through the mill, more or less, and now this is going to be imposed on Greece. So here's what we have. A country with 18% official unemployment and 20% official poverty. The IMF comes on the scene and says, you need an austerity program. You've got to cut your budget. You've got to raise taxes. You've got to cut spending. You've got to cut social services. You've got to loot and sack the pension system and the healthcare system, even such as it is. This is absolute insanity, monetarist delirium and insanity and lunacy, and incompatible with the future of human civilization. So shut it down. But again, you don't shut it down if you're not willing to call for the ouster of Papandreou. And they'll say, oh, but he's a leftist. Yeah, like Obama, a leftist. Great. He operates under left cover. Get rid of him. Papandreou, by the way, is the son and grandson of Greek prime ministers, pretty much British assets, British agents, and therefore he's running true to form. You listen to Papandreou talk on the TV with his Harvard education. What understanding could he possibly have of the plight of the average Greek? He is a wealthy elitist of the internationalist cosmopolitan type, and therefore good idea to dump this character. And the leadership, and above all the program, are just not up to snuff. Now, turning to the financial reform bill, if we can call it this, coming out of the U.S. Congress, this is a watered-down, weak, pathetic product at the end of all of this endless travail, right? We're 3 to 4 years into the crisis, if you figure that it started in 2007, and now we get this. It's just pathetic. Couple of things to point out, right? The things that are not in the bill, and we'll be looking at this in detail because it just passed last night. Well, one is the Cantwell-McCain amendment, which simply is to repeal the infamous and insane Graham-Leach-Bliley and reinstate the Glass-Steagall firewall, rigorous separation between banks and stock brokerages, between commercial banks and investment banks. That was rejected. That did not get into the bill, and we'll go through the sad story of this bill in just a minute.